I think, for a lot of the people I see, and certainly my own personal experience has been that, going a bit down the path of trying to do things more naturally can sometimes really suck people in to, like, I have to do this, this, and this. I have to avoid this. I have to, cut these things out of my life. I have to make all my own cleaning products, or I have to, it's like you can just go so far down that rabbit hole very easily, I think, because, you go to one alternative medicine practitioner and integrative medicine practitioner who refers you to another, who refers you to another. Suddenly you're kind of in this world, right? And you start searching for this stuff on Google, and then your social media starts being populated with it, and then you're sucked really far into this world of influencers telling you should never take a drug for anything, right? There are literally influencers out there saying, like, nobody should ever take Western medicine for any condition whatsoever. And that extreme stuff is amplified by the algorithms that prioritize extreme content, because that's what keeps people clicking and viewing pages and on the platforms being served ads, and that's what is in the best interest of the social media companies. And so I think we need to think about that as well. Like, when we go a few steps down this road, suddenly we can be sucked into this vortex of really harmful and toxic wellness culture content if we're not careful. So I definitely think that's important for people to be aware of, and to go in with a critical thinking lens where we're not just taking at face value anything that an integrative or holistic practitioner tells us, right? We're asking the same questions of them that we might ask of a conventional medicine practitioner, right? And then we also have to think about the fact that conventional medicine, for all its flaws, and pharmaceuticals for all their flaws, and the industry is incredibly flawed, is still regulated, right? There are some checks and balances on those industries that there really are not on a lot of the wellness stuff, right? And so, there's a lot less regulation and a lot less scrutiny on some of the supposedly more natural approaches, I think, than there are on more conventional approaches. And so, again, to be really critical, to be skeptical, to think about what has scientific backing behind it. Of course, not everybody can read a scientific study or has the time or the desire to do that. So I think it's, we shouldn't have to be experts in everything, but we should be able to find things that have some, rigorous backing behind them. Of course, not everything is backed up by science yet, right? Like, some things are sort of still emerging, but I think there has been a lot more scientific research on alternative and integrative medicine approaches than people might think. There's often sort of this reflexive idea of, like, well, there's no money to study that stuff. And in fact, there is, like, a significant amount. There's not as much as to study conventional medicine, certainly. But a lot of natural and holistic approaches have been studied in rigorous scientific studies, and oftentimes have not been found to have great support or great evidence behind them. So trying to use scientific research, and to the extent that you're able to kind of guide your decisions, asking your healthcare providers for the evidence behind something they're recommending. If they say, well, this worked for some patients of mine, it's like, okay, but is there evidence behind it? What exactly is that evidence? Or is this just something you're seeing anecdotally? Taking that into account, right? Anecdotes are not scientific evidence. The scientific evidence does a great job, when conducted well, of stripping away things like the placebo effect, right? Or the nocebo effect, and these things that make something look like it might be helpful to a small number of people or anecdotally, when in fact there's something else going on around the person's belief that this is going to help, or the context in which it's offered being kind of a therapeutic context, even if the intervention or the treatment offered doesn't have any real therapeutic effects.
It's interesting. Your one caveat that I have to echo is when the research is conducted well.